Los Angeles. Put your hands together for the host of the Fun with Dumb podcast, Dumb Falcon.
Yo, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? Welcome to Fun with Dumb, a podcast that I drop every week. Then you got your phones out and everything. It's all right, chill. This is gonna be on YouTube like in 2 days. Like it'll be, and I promise you, it'll be shot better than your phones, y'all. Damn, cause I see a lot of trash androids in the crowd too. So, nah, I'm kidding. Yo, much love. Thank you guys for coming. This is like a kind of an experiment. For the first time doing this live as a taping, and this is in conjunction with Spotify. Make some noise for Spotify. And SPACE, which stands for Spotify Asian, someone yelled the C, I forgot the C. Community engagement, yeah. I was about to be like center, creative, no. I was just figuring out. But yeah, Spotify, SPACE, and in conjunction for Asian Pacific American Heritage Lineage Month. I think I just added the lineage, but APAM. Yeah, make some noise for that, y'all, one time. And I got a co-host today who's going to help me out. Make some noise for Rex Dizzy. Yeah, Reg, it's okay. Come on, don't let him hurt you with the crickets. Do not let him. Do not. You will respect. Hey. Grab a mic right there, Reg. How you guys feeling? You guys like the food? Make some noise for the food.
Wow.
Got Dante sponsors.
Yo, if that wasn't the best egg roll I've ever had in my life.
You guys, would you agree that was one of the best egg rolls you guys ever tried? Someone, yeah.
Have you? All right, the people that actually ate it.
We got some foodies who work for Eater and shit. Like I've had better egg rolls. But, by the way, yeah, there's a lot of good egg rolls. One of the most slept-on egg rolls, I gotta say.
I could eat a foot long of that.
I got a foot-long egg roll. All right. But one of the best slept-on egg rolls, I gotta say, is the Jack in the Box egg roll. And okay.
How you gonna disrespect your food sponsors?
No. That's a great egg roll. Don't even front. Yeah. Nah, but yeah, thank you guys for coming. Thanks for enjoying the food. And Rex Dizzy will be my co-host today. And I got like a couple guests today. The first guest I'm gonna bring up right now is an OG in our community, the Asian American entertainment community, and just in comedy all around, an OG. So I'm really glad she agreed to do this. And yeah, I'm excited to bring her out here. Make some noise one time for Margaret Cho, y'all. And her adorable dog. You can sit right there. Now, this is for real a queen in our community, man. Can we just agree on that real quick?
That's so nice.
Thank you. No, I'm like really stoked. I didn't want to talk to you too much in the back because I know I got to do this and create.
This is great.
Yeah,
this
and talk about stuff. And yeah, like I've been meaning to interview you or just talk to you for a long time as an inspiration. And
Aww,
you know,
that's awesome.
What's your dog's name first and foremost?
Her name is Lucia, and her name is Lucia Katerina Lawler Stocho.
You got a full ass name for the dog.
Well, this is what happened. My best friend died in January, and so I wanted to name a dog after her. So I got her in February, and so she's named after my friend who died, and she's a brand new life to spread joy.
And
she peed on the floor in the
I saw that. It's all good.
Sorry.
That carpet is part of history now.
Yeah, now she peed there, but
what you say you travel with the dog as well. We
Yes.
talked about this when you tour.
yeah, and it helps. I mean, because she comes on the road, and it's a nice thing to have, because it's like we tour all the time. We're like always out there, and it's like you get really lonely for your home, and so she's the way that I get to bring my home with me.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of dangerous to bring dogs on rap tours. I feel like it gets a little wild. Like it wouldn't last like 2 weeks for sure.
It's easier to have a small dog. I used to have a big dog who was like, she was like a real mutt, you know, and she would always like, it would be hard to take her on the road because she was just like at my house. She just didn't want to go in like the car and didn't want to go. And my dad would come over and like rub her on the butt and he would say, "This is the kind of dog that we eat. So delicious." And he would like massage her butt. He's like, "We have to tenderize the meat." And I was like horrified, but he's like, "No, it's very good." So,
You're like, I got to get a dog that doesn't look appetizing.
yeah. She does look delicious though.
Yeah, that is a cute dog.
I
but
know, she's
Well,
really
marshmallow.
good. She's
Yeah.
really good.
Marshmallow.
She's
It's
like
an appetizer at most. It's
she-
not even a
she
full
is.
course. Yeah.
But she's like a real like early 2000s like throwback to like a Paris Hilton like Britney Spears like purse dog.
Yeah.
Like Tinkerbell. You know, she's like I'm white. She like makes me feel like I
That's
could
true.
be white.
That is, like
Yeah.
Starbucks Ugg boots.
Yeah, I'm like almost white. If I had a juicy tracksuit, I would be fully white.
That's the American dream, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
No, I also noticed, like, a lot of your bits over the years, when you do your parents act, when you impersonate your parents, because we don't speak Korean that well either. Like, how's your Korean? Like, what percentage?
Well, my Korean is like my generation. We came here, and then like our parents were like, we all want American kids, 100% American kids. And so then they would never allow us to speak Korean. So we had to, they would speak to us in Korean, but we had to answer in English. So it was like, I do speak Korean, but it's like really like pabo level, like
Right,
really
right.
like dumb,
same.
bad, like, like a child. Like Konglish.
Yeah. No, we do the same thing, but it's funny because when we try to do impersonations of Korean people, it's always like an older Korean, like a over 40, 50-year-old dude. You know what I'm saying? It's never like a young Korean. It's always like aggressive the way our parents talk and shit, like we're about to whip our friend's ass or something like, "Hey, 자식아 뭐라고," you know what I mean? Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and all the cadences are very angry, right?
Yeah.
Or naggy.
It's, you know what it is? It's like, just pretend that you're like, you're in the like parking area of like some kind of like kalbi restaurant in the mini mall, and that's like, you're the parking attendant. They're all like, yeah. They're like really like, yeah. Like it's a very, like it's universal. They don't have to say words.
Yeah.
You just know you can't park there.
And it stretches out to you got the quick ones like but you got the ones that kind of stretch out like a roller coaster, like na na na, like they kind of.
It's like,
I like the
"Ah."
yeah.
All these sound like
It
Migos
goes up.
ad libs and shit,
It
but
goes up. It gets.
yeah.
It's also like, when you could kind of fake Korean because a big part of it is active listening. It's like when they like really agree, then it's a.
That,
I learned some more advanced shit when I was last in Korea. You just do. You just push your glasses.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty powerful. It's just like
yeah. That's a
fuck
good
it.
one. Or just take them off completely and just.
no, my parents, I was born in Argentina, and I came here when I was 3 years old, and both my parents speak fluent Spanish. So living in Koreatown, Los Angeles, like they never learned English. So they
Yeah.
only speak Spanish and Korean.
Yeah,
At my house, I bring a black friend over and it's just Spanish to him and shit. I'm like, Mom, it's like, he don't speak any Spanish, but that was like their way of like flexing, like, oh, okay, I'm not going to use Korean. It's Spanish. You know what I'm saying?
But that's cool. That's cool.
It was cool.
Yeah, because it's kind of great because a lot of Koreans come to Koreatown because they never actually have to learn English or even Spanish.
true.
They can get by because it's so densely populated with Korean people. So it's kind of, I think it's a really great neighborhood for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've like, what's your relationship with Koreatown? Like, do you have any? I mean, because you're from the Bay Area,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of Bay Area heads who moved down to Los Angeles. by the way,
Yeah, but when I was here, I have a really difficult relationship with Koreatown because my relationship is totally different from your guys'. Because when I was starting and I was doing comedy in the 90s, they had just had the LA riots happen. And so Koreans here were incredibly protective of their public image. And I was doing stand-up comedy on television, and I had a TV show on ABC, and they were so against it. They were really mad that I was out there and I was swearing, and they didn't want to, they didn't want to be represented by me. And so I had all these like 목사님s, like pastors and stuff would like get really angry and threaten me with like protests and everything.
wow. I didn't- yeah.
And it was heavy, and I would get really upset. I mean, fortunately, all those people died. So
R.I.P.
Thank God. They
There's
all
a new
died.
generation. Thank
So
God
now,
they're long gone. Yeah.
But now I'm the elder, which is great because then I can nurture young people and their art and their, all the things that they want to do. But that generation were they really didn't want to be perceived as anything but like
it was the
Christian.
appearance. They wanted the best versions of their Korean
Right.
youth out
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
I know that you still knew what's up with K-Town because I saw like a stand-up you did on Jay Leno, and you talk about Evita, and you were like, "Don't cry for me, 6th and Western."
Yes,
Like,
yes.
Yeah, you like said the exact cross streets, and I was like, "Oh
Yes.
shit." Little K-Town flex.
It's very K-Town, but yeah, now I have a different relationship to it, and I think it's such an amazing resource to have, and then we could just go right back to Korea by just taking Alvarado.
Yeah, exactly.
Right
No,
here.
I know, like, during the riot era, after that, a lot of the Koreans were very proud that came from the ashes of the riots.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of young kids who always flex about the riots, like, yeah, we came out of the riots. I'm like, motherfucker, you were 5 and shit. Like,
Yeah.
they talk about it like they were on the roof with the fucking guns and shit. Like, you were 5, bro. Watching the ocean on TV. But yeah, I mean, it's come a long way for sure. And in Asian American entertainment in the last, I would say, like 2 years has been crazy.
Yeah.
And it's weird because, I mean, I know you know this. Every year you're probably like, because you've been an advocate for so long, like, this is going to be the year we get in. This is going to be the year. And, like, it never was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then,
Yeah.
like, the last year was the year. Like, did you
Yeah.
feel that?
Well, yeah, of course. And it's so amazing and exciting. And I think that finally it's starting to happen where you're seeing much more Asian American artists in every genre, in every entertainment field. And that's really powerful. So, I just think like we've got to create as many like Asian American TV shows and movies and podcasts and albums as just in case white people change their mind. So you got to get it out right now. Hurry! Like if you do it really quickly. You have to do it really fast because we may not. They might change their mind. They could any second.
I feel like, people really confuse, I feel like, the Asian experience and the Asian American experience for a long time.
Yeah.
Because people are like, yeah, Asian. I'm like, nah, there's two different things going
Right.
on.
Right.
Even in music and hip hop, there's a lot of artists that are making noise right now, but it's straight like Asian artists.
Yeah.
Whether it's raps in Chinese or Korean, that's really popular K-pop, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I think people mistaken the support for it because they're like, oh yeah, we support that shit. So they think they're just supporting Asian Americans, but it's some other shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great though that we're seeing, like BTS and of course Blackpink and all, these acts from Korea coming and becoming huge here. And now, you want to see more Asian American support for that. I mean, the biggest thing to happen to Asian American entertainment has been Crazy Rich Asians,
Right.
which is incredible, tremendous, I think, genre busting revolution. We're seeing so much from that. So I think that it's a very particular thing to be Asian American, and that's an identity that we really are fully like learning who we are, and we're going to embody it now.
When you were coming into the scene, I feel like that was the first people were seeing an Asian American almost for the first time, like Asian American woman, speak on, and how did they perceive that? Was it like cats not ready for that in a way? Like,
I think it was weird because I would be doing a lot of comedy and in nightclubs, and I would have to follow like these white comedians doing a whole bunch of Asian driver jokes, and it was really weird, And so I remember like my first joke was like, I drive very well, and then people would feel all guilty, and then they would have to listen. So it was a very strange thing to kind of go up. It's like I basically just go up on stage and go, okay, I know that you've been racist by laughing for the last half an hour, but I'm gonna make you understand that, and we're gonna continue. So it was a weird thing, but I think. What is good is that a lot of young people saw my comedy and felt like, oh, I could do that, and that's my big achievement. It's not so much if I was any good, but it was that other people saw me and they're really good. So that's really great.
Yeah, I'm curious about what you think, like with joking around with Asian stereotypes, how far that's come, because I come from like a lot of the battle rap world, right? So like when I go into a battle, people are still gonna use all the Asian stereotypes still to this day.
Yeah.
And I listen to the reactions like if shit still works, and it does. It's like all the shit still works. And I've gotten hit with all the best Asian jokes. I could appreciate a hella good Asian joke.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how you feel, how far it's gotten with those, few stereotypes or whatnot? Do you still feel it's hacky in a way, or if it's done right?
If it's done in a clever way that makes me laugh, then I'm all for it. I think that stereotypes exist for the grain of truth, that this small bit of truth that exists from that. So that I think that there's some merit to it, but it's boring if it's just like hacky and cheap. But I think when I do an Asian voice, I talk about my mom and my parents and my comedy, and to me that's just the way they talk. And the only criticisms that I've got over the years of using an Asian voice to talk about my family is from white people. They're like, I think that's racist, which I love it when white people tell me what's racist. That's real cute. But it's like one of those things where people
oh, he's an ally.
Yeah, I know. But people want to be they want to sort of maybe make you white or something. That's the only way. They kind of try to de-ethnify you to make it somehow more politically correct. But I don't think that's the right answer either.
Right, because it's a truth. When you're doing those accents, that's how our parents sound. And
yeah,
shit.
that's how they talk, and it's something that we endured. For me, growing up with that, it was so embarrassing for me and my brother because my mom would talk like that, and we would just make fun of her, and that was, I think, where our Asian Americanness was born. Because our parents are so Asian, but when Asian Americans start to recognize how funny and fobby that is, that's when you start to exist.
Right, right.
I think it's just a lot of these frustration comes from how there's not enough representation of that and that and that, and then once they see a nerdy Asian, they get mad, and I had to tell my friend, I was like, yo, why is that nerdy Asian in that spot? People gonna make fun of us. I'm like, there are a lot of nerdy Asians though.
Mm-hmm.
Let them be. That's a real thing that exists.
Well, that's the shit though. You need to see 10 different types of Asians. You know what I'm saying? And we're seeing one kind, but there's gonna be that. It's just the gates have now opened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We might see the wholesome Asian family that, or whatnot, and you're going to see the fucked up ones too.
I think it's great. I think that the diversity around that is great, and the possibilities around that are really exciting. So I'm excited about what's coming for Asian Americans in entertainment, and I'm looking forward to it. And this has never happened before, so I think it's going to be really good.
Drugs are coming.
Drugs.
And scandal.
Yeah, great. Asians do drugs, so it's
Asians and Korean student. I've done a lot of shows with Korean student associations and all these colleges. Don't let those motherfuckers fool you. After the Korean, I am a snitch. After the Korean culture night, after the fan dances and taekwondo demonstrations, they are snorting back there. I swear to you.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
What do you gotta, you need drugs to get those good grades. You gotta stay up, do those 12-page papers, and it's not. What do you think? It's just coffee, motherfuckers? No. Yeah. So are that journey and that relationship you've had with your parents, during the early days? Because I feel like now things are even changed with relationships we have with our parents. In Korea, they got a huge American Idol-esque show, a competition for rappers and also singers. Competitive singing is huge in Asia. And so now back in the day you might have Asian parents you gotta take this SAT and you gotta do this and go to college. Now motherfuckers are trying to send them to labels and try to get contract deals and shit.
Yeah, that's intense. If you look at the way that K-pop stars are, the whole experience, it reminds me almost of ballet dancers or something in way back when from the Soviet Union, when they were competing and dancing in order to eat, and it's that same kind of almost desperation and drive for people to become K-pop stars because it's so much work, so hard, no time off, and you think oh, I'm gonna be an artist, it's that life is easier, but it's actually really not.
Right.
What is a idol trainee's tiger mom saying to him?
I don't know. It's they can't make any mistakes. They have to be able to dance. You have to do the twerking. You have to do can you do the twerking? No, you have to do very quickly. Do the move with the very quickly. If because they do the twerking. I love it when K-pop stars do the twerking because it's just they don't have the ass.
It's not really twerking.
So
it's really not twerking.
But they do very quickly, so then it makes up for it.
Yeah,
they're best. Best.
They do take the arts, like with singing and stuff. It is taken very seriously out there. You know, there's a lot of these karaoke rooms where it's for one person. You know, out here, karaoke's more like a group thing, a social thing. We're all like having fun. There's like this one person karaoke booth, and the screen is like right here, and they just practice their singing, and it's competitive. It's not a joke. I think I saw Rec all alone in the karaoke room in Cape Town one time, passing through the hallway. He's in the room, just was like cross. He's like, "I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo."
I was my own dummy too at the same time.
Yeah. So I mean, what was the? Yeah. So what was your relationship? I mean, what did you have a lot of quarrels with your parents?
Oh yeah,
up?
they were so mad at me when I wanted to do comedy. They were like so furious. I mean, I told my mom when I was 14 I wanted to be a comedian, and she said, "Oh, maybe it's better if you just die." And so. And I do that in my act just to, show her that I actually, I listen to her. They think it's really funny.
Does she find that funny or what?
She's like, I don't know why you do my impression because I don't think they is like me at all. And also, it's not really, I don't know. Like, she thinks it's not correct.
Yeah.
And that I'm not doing it right. And you have to let me do some time because I don't think you do it right. So she has issues with it, but I think she does like it. They're very happy.
Were you always like kind of got like funny when you were young, like a baby?
No,
like, not baby. But
no. I was like really quiet and like I was real scared all the time because like I think because my parents, I was so alone because my parents were super like poor and they both had jobs, so I was kind of by myself all the time. So I was just scared all the time, and then I never talked and. So when I started doing comedy, it was like this place where I could actually just talk and have people like pay attention to me. So it was very exhilarating. And I started so young that I was pretty much a kid anyway. But I think they were really upset. Now they're happy about it because they can show off to their friends. That's what all Koreans care about. Is that just if they can brag.
No, I feel the same way because when I was young, I was, I'm the same way. Latchkey child, grew up on television, pop culture. So I'm watching TV. They're working all the time. And performing in front of my parents or like trying to be goofy was kind of not. It was scary. My dad was a strict man. You know what I mean? So he'd be watching TV. I'd like put on his blazer and I'd hop on in front of the TV like da. He's like, get the fuck away.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a scary. And a dinner table was like really scary. I wanted to get like eat and go into my room and shit. Yeah. So
wait, show us again what you did.
I think it was always like a Michael Jackson thing. I like put on the blazer. I'm like, I'm Michael Jackson. He's like, shut the fuck up. No, you're not. You suck.
Aww.
Yeah, it was an outlet.
He's like, beat it.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm not.
Where's Zoe with the fucking drum rolls? No, I recently actually finally got to watch the pilot for the All American Girl show.
Oh, cool, yeah.
If you guys aren't familiar, All American Girl, because this might be before a lot of people's
you wouldn't
times.
know. It was in 1994, so it was the first Asian American show. It's on YouTube. You can watch the pilot. But it was a show that was, and that year we also had Joy Luck Club. So at that time in 1994, we thought, well, maybe there's going to be Asian American entertainment now. But of course, it didn't happen, and we had to wait 25 years for it to happen again.
That is weird. I guess every time it happens, like there's multiple things going on that are Asian American.
Yeah.
It seems like, right? Because this past one with Crazy Rich, it was like searching was happening.
Yeah.
And like burning, and there's like Asian music was thriving with BTS, Blackpink. It's like all happens at once.
Yeah, and Fresh Off the Boat, and so many things. And but I think now it's more sustainable. Now there's a real demand for it and an excitement around it. So I feel like there's reasons to think this is a permanent thing.
Was there any like other working titles besides All American Girl during that time? Because I know Fresh Off the Boat had their own issues,
They had their I was talking to Eddie Huang. I was involved with Eddie Huang taking his memoir over there to ABC and trying to make a deal with them.
I didn't know that,
and
yeah.
he was like very insistent on it being called Fresh Off the Boat, and then they didn't want to name it that,
Right.
because they were like, oh, that's racist. But again, it's like that's so cute when white people tell you what's racist. I think it's like, oh, that's adorable. Thanks for your input, but it's like very.
It's like I'll take it from here.
Yeah, but it's a very weird point, because it's like we're empowering ourselves to be fresh off the boat. It's like
Right.
a great thing to celebrate, because it's
in our
something
community,
that we love.
it's like kind of like a slang thing we use too.
Yeah.
And the other choices weren't even that crazy too. I think they were trying to do like Straight Outta Orlando or some shit like that. you know?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if that was. I just made that up.
But
But, something with
that's-
Orlando.
Yeah. That's, I think, I mean, but Fresh Off the Boat is the name of the memoir. It's Fresh Off the Boat. So
Right.
it just was like the right name. But it's so weird. Our names, what we were thinking of was, I don't know, dim some, lose some.
Yeah.
So stupid. I don't even remember. Something like
Wait,
that.
was that real? Was for
I
real?
don't even know if it was real. It was stupid. But something like that, just dumb.
Yeah, you gotta have a little bit of Asian, like a hint of it, and a little
Just a little
cleverness
bit,
to it,
a little
MSG,
bit of,
if you will.
Yeah, you have
That
to
was-
put
that was another
something in
bad.
there. Yeah.
I saw when I was watching the pilot, and it was like very 90s, which
So
was great.
90s, yeah.
I love it, and I can imagine, because even right now, there's a lot of issues with casting like older Asian women and men in
Mm-hmm.
movies or TV shows, because there's not many, and the history of that, it's only a few.
Yeah.
Was that like the casting process kind of difficult for
Yeah,
that?
it was hard because we were trying to look for Asian American actors. We were trying to look for a lot of Korean actors, but unfortunately, we couldn't find too many. So we had cast like there's a Chinese actor. B.D. Wong, of course, is amazing, and then Jodie Long is half Chinese, half Japanese, and then Clyde Kosatsu is Japanese, and then Amy Hill is Japanese and Finnish. She's
wow.
Hapa. So we had a very diverse cast in terms of Asian American.
And they still try to speak a little Korean in it too. I heard
speak
that.
a little bit in there.
I give him props for that. That was.
It's hard, but it was like looking to cast. I don't mind that. Like if you're in an Asian American project, I don't mind if somebody's playing a Korean, if you're Chinese, or because we're all kind of the same. Like
Right.
we're all basically Chinese.
That's the thing. It's like what,
I think.
and the thing about it, Asians is like we get crazy racist with each other, and
Yeah,
everybody
so bad.
outside doesn't give a fuck. They're like, what are they arguing about and shit?
But I think that we're all from the landmass that is China, because I did a genealogy test.
23andMe joint. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they found out I was 100% Chinese.
Oh really?
Yeah, and
Oh,
my
shit.
parents were like, "Oh no, there's nothing. This
Koreans were
mistake.
pissed off when they
There's-
found that
no,
shit out.
No. But it actually, all Koreans are Chinese. We're all Chinese.
Though, yeah, that's still not gonna get through the OG Koreans.
Yeah,
They're gonna be
they're
pissed. They're like,
no,
Korea number one. That's the
no,
thing. They
number
go,
one.
we are
Fighting.
number one. Like we get
Fighting.
number 3 in the Olympics. We're like, no, we're
We're
number
still number
one.
one.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, in the same way that we're really all from Africa.
right.
You know,
right.
that's where civilization. It's where human beings began. They all came from Africa, so we're all from Africa.
That's what's up. Y'all heard that? Okay.
Yeah, and but also in China. So we're
Yeah,
all
yeah.
Chinese.
I mean, those are the two big land masses.
Yeah.
We're just little cousins and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Also, you remind me a lot, actually, of my sister.
Hmm?
My younger sister had this kind of gangster edge to her. She's tatted from like the neck down.
cool.
Yeah, she's tatted up, and she's had her issues with the parents with the tattoo thing. I'm tatted too. Like I'm blasted.
Were they so mad when you got tattoos?
When I got my first tattoo though was Koreatown across my chest in Old English, and on a scrawny Asian dude, it just didn't look that hard. You know what I mean? I'd be at the water park and shit, Koreatown. It's like cholos walking around. I'm just like, chill. Yeah, I don't bang. I don't bang. Nah, I don't. It's. Yeah, it was. But then I added some more harder shit around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But before, just that alone, font was not popping. But yeah, they were mad. My dad, and then as I started getting more and more, of course, they're just getting mad, like another one, and then you get old enough where like they can't say shit because I'm
Yeah.
old and I'm paying their bills now. It's like
Once you start to pay their bills, then it's a different story.
Yeah,
That's a nice transition. That feels good.
When
do
was
that.
your first
Feels
tattoo?
good to say,
actually?
shut the fuck up, mom.
Ooh.
I don't pay my mom's bills, so I don't say it.
Oh yeah, you can. Oh well.
I
Just
say
throw,
coming. You
just
will.
throw an
You
envelope
will.
full of money in their face. Fuck you. No, when was your first tattoo?
Actually, my first tattoo was very big. It was a big stomach and back piece, which had like flowers and like snakes. It was done by Ed Hardy, and it was the thing. Ed Hardy used to sell his book at my dad's bookstore.
Oh, wow.
So they knew him. So and all the employees at my family's bookstore in San Francisco in the 70s were all getting full bodysuits from Ed Hardy. And we would have pictures of people's tattoos, bodysuits, and in the 70s and 80s on our refrigerator. So they knew fully tattooed people very early on, and they thought it was inevitable. They're like, oh, I knew. That was their reaction, like, I knew this was going to happen. You know, but I think that they were like, you know, they were probably cooler about it than a lot of Korean people. But can you go to Jjimjilbang with that?
No, that's the thing. So Jjimjilbang is a Korean sauna, a spa. And my sister, when she first went to Korea a couple of years back, you know, it's summer too. It's hot as fuck. And she's just wearing turtlenecks and shit. Like, she's sweating up a storm. We try to hide that shit. Try to avoid going to the spa, because with the grandparents, it's like a tradition. Like, you go with the grandparents.
Yeah.
And you get a scrub or some shit. And then she just avoided for a long time. When she went and finally exposed her tattoos for the first time, they fucking freaked out.
Yeah.
They died 6 months later, actually. No. But they I have sure had nothing to do with the tattoos. But they did.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was definitely shocking to them.
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of a relief too. You know, afterwards they always get over shit.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell this story of like me and my mom, like. I used to smoke like a lot of weed, you know, my teenagers up to like my late 20s and shit. And my mom walked in on me like smoking out of a bong, clearing the bong, and I'm like, "Oma, like miane, I'm sorry," you know. And then she just gets so pissed, snatches the bong out of my hand, about to crack it on the floor, and I'm like, "Mom, that's really expensive bong." She like thinks about it for a second. And then like gently places it down on the table.
Aww.
Never broken, nothing.
Aww.
Yeah. So it was like she was really conflicted. Like, I don't want to waste money. Fuck.
That was rough. That's great. That's great.
It was sweet. I think she had her first like conflict or Asian American conflict.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
That's quick thinking too.
Yeah, and now weed is so legal. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure even like immigrant parents are driving down around the city and seeing so many dispensaries and shit. My dad, like, he was all like, "Oh, I heard, you know, you can make a lot of money off of weed. Like, should we go in on a dispensary?" Like,
yeah.
Like, motherfucker, you have no money to go in on a dispensary. First of all, I'd probably be paying 80% of it. And like, yeah, I broke it down. But he was like, things just change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just things change when everything's happening like all around you, even the finances or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, even like professions, right? Like we talk about how your parents want us to be certain things, doctors and lawyers, but was because literally they fucking make money.
Yeah. And it was also success that they could see, and they, you know, it's mostly like for Koreans, it's all about what the other Koreans are doing. So you want to like follow like the other Korean kids of like a family, and it's like if they're going to Yale and Stanford, then you want your kids to do that too. And it's mostly just keeping up with the other Koreans. I think because Korea is such a competitive society, and there's so few resources, and there's so many people like trying to get them, that even when they come to America, that's still about like trying to get those things, you know. So that's what I think the drive is.
What are the other Koreans doing during that? Like when you were coming up, did you see any other Korean families making certain types of moves, or a majority of them going into a certain industry? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people like became lawyers and doctors, and then you know, it's like what happens. My generation too is that a lot of the kids like would do all these things. They go to like become a doctor and then be really frustrated in their job and want to change. Well, like Ken Jeong, which is a perfect transition to his career, because he was opening for me doing comedy 25 years ago, and he was in med school, and I was like, wow, that is crazy that he's like, he really wants to be a comedian, but he's going to med school. And then he just went through all that, became a doctor, and then decided to go back and be a comedian again. So, I mean, it's this thing where, like, a lot of people got very frustrated with the careers that their parents wanted for them, and then they decided to do their own thing, which I think is really cool.
He almost like just got that out the way just to like let me please you, and then I had to go back to my joint.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I think he was good at it too. You know, because it's like you can't deny that, like, it's got to be hard to be a doctor, and you also have to have all of you to do it. You know, your heart has to be in it. So I think that there's part of him that did love it, but it's exciting to see that he's finally come back to comedy, which is really cool.
Yeah, I see a lot of Asian Americans when they talk about that, oh, you know, not all of us want to be doctors and lawyers. I'm like, why not? That shit's a fire-ass job.
Yeah, it's
You
cool.
know what I mean? It's
really
like,
cool.
goddamn, what else you want? You want to be a struggle rapper, bro? Trust me.
Yeah, my cousin's a surgeon. He got all the newest Teslas.
All of them? All the new ones?
Yeah, and when he was not married, he like all the girls he was with would like I would smash.
All right.
That's great.
So you were getting all his leftover doctor
No,
groupies.
I just said, you know, hypothetically I would smash. I didn't get to smash.
Okay.
I'm not a surgeon.
All right. I think what I'm getting now is not even just the disappointment of being a rapper, but like the level of rapper that I am. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard to explain to your parents like a working class entertainer, because you know they want to see like, where the fuck are your billboards? How come you're not on TV? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain to blue collar entertainer.
Yeah, but it's actually cool though, because it's like it's a very, I mean, you have to be so talented to make a living and be a blue collar entertainer. So I think it's a good place to be. Like, it's like there's so many, as I've been in like all of this for long enough to know that like it's actually great to be at this level of being like a working person entertainer, because then you can like survive through the ages of and really develop as an artist, whereas people who become very, very, very famous very quickly kind of go down very, very quickly too. So to be able to stay at the same place over many, many years is actually much more, I think, gratifying as an artist. And that's also all the kind of artists that I like to watch and follow too. So I mean, there's show business is so weird because there's so many levels of it, and there's lots of things to appreciate about being. For me, I've really enjoyed where I'm at.
Yeah, it's a marathon for
Yeah.
sure. And I mean, you're still in the trenches and kind of the front line of a lot of the performance side of things as a comedian, you know, because, you know, a lot of the transition people make is kind of going behind the scenes and doing production stuff. But, you know, not everybody wants to go that route either. Like, I still love performing and stuff. Like, has that taken a toll necessarily? Because traveling around a lot, performing live?
Yeah, and so I'm trying to do a couple of more, like, behind the scenes. Like, I'm a producer and I'm a director on some things, different things. And that is really exciting and fun too, because you can help other people. So, you know, but I don't think I would ever go all the way back and stop performing. To me, that is still really, it's really rewarding.
Right. And, you know, you've really dabbled in a lot of stuff because you've done musical stuff too.
Yeah.
She's even done a music video and song with Aquafina called Green Tea. There's a music video online. And how did you link with her?
Well, I had been a fan of hers for a long time before that, and since she's so like New York and I'm so LA, that I never got to run into her or see her. So I reached out to her because I wanted to do a collaboration, and you know, it was really fun. And she's so brilliant. Like, she just is so incredible. Like, you just take her to studio and she just creates it all. And we shot a video out here, and it was really powerful to see that side of it, you know, that side of entertainment, where to me that's all very new. Like, if I like go into the studio to record something, I have to be very like, what's gonna happen, and plan it all out, where she just, it comes off the top of her head, which is really cool.
But the vibe is, I mean, it's dope too. It's pretty bold of you to just be like, I'm gonna make a rap song out of nowhere, you know what I mean? And just do it. And the visuals, you had all the hanbok with all traditional Korean dresses. That was fire.
It's just fun. It's really fun. And, you know, I think that, like, if you're a comedian, though, you can kind of do whatever. It doesn't really matter, because it's like, it doesn't have to be so serious, you know?
True.
So it's just having fun. And I was really just trying to meet her and see what it would be like to work with her, which is really cool.
And you know, it was dope to see the generations of, like, you know, Asian American women in comedy.
Yeah.
And then also there's a connection also because her upcoming show on Comedy Central, her dad is played by B.D. Wong.
Yes.
Who was your brother in All American Girl.
Yeah, and
That's so sick.
He's incredible actor, and he and I have been everything he was my brother. He's also been my husband. He's just been my boyfriend. He's just been my, he's been
That's
like.
how small the Asian American.
Like we've had every single relationship. All the Asian actors that are around.
Very incestual.
We've done everything together. And so it's a really funny thing. But yeah, he's playing her father, and that show is going to be really cool.
What kind of like projects are you eyeing and or like want to go into? You know, I feel like now. You know, I don't know how. Actually, this is another question. Do you feel like more opportunities have even opened up for you? I mean, you've always kind of managed to break through when there wasn't even.
Yeah.
But do you feel that in a sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm able to work a lot in different things and be there for people. I think it's really cool. Like I end up playing a lot of. Cops, and I feel like in a couple of years I'll be the judge and everything. Like I'm like so perfect for like a judge role. But yeah, usually cops, like that kind of like older person, like saying they can't do something, like no, don't do that, no, that kind of thing. Like don't like the naysayer and everything.
Or like the lieutenant who's all like, no, you're off this case.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to work this case. I've been working on it for the last week. No, you're off of it.
You're out.
Yeah, that
you're
dude.
out.
Yeah. You were on Face Off as like some kind of.
Yeah, that you're out. I did that in Face Off.
Were you
Get out.
Were you like an analyst or something on Facebook? What was it?
No, I'm like Face Off is kind of almost like an Americanization of Hard Boiled in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things. It's a John Woo movie also.
Right, yeah.
In Face Off, I am a FBI agent. I don't know.
Like a partner. Right?
I'm a partner, but all I remember from that movie is that I got so fat in it because I kept going to John Travolta's trailer and eating pie with him. So we would eat like.
He's like, hey Margaret, come here. I got some pie.
He's like, come on, like come here. And we would eat like a pie. He would eat like one whole boysenberry pie to his head, like with a.
To his head.
To the head.
Like a bong rip. Just to his head, he took a boysenberry pie.
The whole pie he would eat with a fork. Like just eat the pie and like a 9-inch pie. And then I would have my own 9-inch pie that I was supposed to eat. And then, so they had to like sew a panel on the back of my costume for that would like stretch that much. Because I gained about that much.
Just giving you the stink eye, like you've been eating pies, haven't you?
They were so mad because I ate so much pie that I grew a big. And the movie takes place over a very short period of time. So we had the same costume on for a year. I'd have it extended.
Oh, wait. So what were we talking about right now? You were the projects.
Yeah, projects that I get to do. Well, I'm doing a couple different things. One of them is I'm doing an adaptation of a very popular K-drama to American television, which is it's quite a lot, and it's really cool. So it's still in the very early stages, and I can't really divulge, but it's a really exciting.
Do you watch K-dramas yourself?
Yeah. So
you do?
This is like a totally exciting thing. I mean, I'm more of like I like the Korean like revenge movies. I mean, to me, I'm more
the
of
old
a
boys.
Yeah, I like the
Lady Vengeance.
I like Lady Vengeance. That's my favorite. But my favorite right now is I Saw the Devil.
Yeah,
I like a big like
all classics.
Chemin-sik like classic. with a dagger and you know.
Yeah, Koreans love revenge.
They do.
You know what I mean?
It's like a heritage thing.
And I wondered until like somebody like did me wrong, and I was like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like you feel it later. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about the long game too. It's like I'm not gonna get you today, but I'm gonna get you someday. And it's.
I'm going to
really,
put microdose of poison in your lunches. And then
just
eventually you'll start dying. Yeah,
it's just a little bit of ground glass.
It's very strategic.
A little bit every day.
Very strategic.
But so that projects of like converting, not converting shows like to American television. I mean, it's popular. Like The Masked Singer, which is also a Korean show.
Oh yeah, shout out! You were on The Masked Singer as the
you.
poodle, and you'll make some noise one time for
Yes.
Anybody here actually watch The Masked Singer? I'm curious. Make some noise if you watch The Masked Singer.
It's a popular Korean show.
Okay, cool. And it's based off of a Korean show.
Yeah.
And did that have something to do with them getting you actually for the show? Or
well, I think that they just wanted to have people that they had worked with before, and so I'd worked with the same kind of production company on something else. So they knew that I would keep a secret. That was the most important thing, that you couldn't tell anybody that you were on.
How was that experience? Were you always into singing?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I think like it was you know, a lot more singing than I was used to, and a lot better singing than I was used to. So I love auto-tune and I love all that stuff, and they didn't let you have any of that. So that was stressful. But I had a good time, and but I think the trend is taking Korean shows and making them for American television.
Oh,
I think it's cool.
It's popping right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of even people here, there's a lot of non-Koreans who watch Korean dramas, right? Make some noise if you do.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so exciting.
I definitely have a good amount of fan base of non-Koreans who follow Korean culture as well, right? Make some noise. I love you guys. I will always have you. We will be each other's.
Aww.
Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. I'm really stoked. I mean, when I saw that, it's weird because a lot of people couldn't guess who you were. Mm-hmm. But like after I knew that it was you, and then I listened, I was like, I totally hear your voice.
That's
how,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, it was really cool to kind of see that side of you. And then you had it was like dramatic too. You had to swing. You know.
I know they try to do things to make your voice get all like jump. So that's what all of the choreography is supposed to make you like not have as like easy of a time of singing. So I didn't have a rehearsal or anything. They just like because they get up in that, and so I was like up above the stage like 75 feet, and I didn't know it was gonna happen, but it was okay. It's all right.
That's tight. I'm gonna interrupt you. I want to bring out just another guest, and then we can all chop it up together for another I like that 15 minutes or so. You know, I don't want to take up all your time because your time is more valuable than any of us. Yeah, you can. Yeah. I want to bring out my boys from Far East Movement over here. Make some noise for Kev and Pro from the Far East Movement. Thank you guys for coming. Meet Margaret Cho, our queen. Yeah, I wanted to bring these guys out because actually we talk to each other every day. These guys actually are my managers as well. For people who might not know, but these guys, introduce yourselves one time.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kev Nish from Transparent Agency, Far East Movement.
It's Transparent Arts now, homie.
Transparent Arts. We're now a record
He's like,
label.
ever since the merger, we're Transparent Arts.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Corporate.
Hey, Pro from Far East Movement and Transparent Arts.
Yeah, one time for Far East Movement.
Yeah.
And there's actually a third member, the DJ, of course, Filipino, as most DJs are.
He dances the best, too.
Yeah, but I wanted to, I think this is like, there's a reoccurring theme right here as the guests are coming on, because to me, like, these are some pioneers, with her in television and stand-up comedy. These guys in music, they were actually the first ever to get a #1 Billboard hit as an Asian group in America. So make some noise for that. Which is now a lot easier to do. No, I'm playing. No, it's still hard. But yeah, they had a song called Fly Like a G6. Yeah. You guys have flown. Okay.
How was your bathroom break, Rec?
Oh man, it's amazing.
I want you to know you were mic'd up the whole time. We heard everything. No. But thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thanks, man.
And I've been wanting to have you guys on, and you guys manage me, and there's like, it's crazy because we have a long history. When I was like 14, 15 years old rapping in Koreatown, Los Angeles, these guys were already doing their thing as a group in grassroots. And there was other people doing shows with us at the time that are pretty blowing up in Hollywood as well, like Randall Park, who's on Fresh Off the Boat. He was a rapper in a band called Illigan that was like the Roots, and he was like the black dot of the group, the rapper in it. And now he's the father on Fresh Off the Boat. But let's talk a little bit about that like journey, because up to the point, that #1 hit, because that was like playing in all the clubs. But you guys started as like a super underground hip hop group, breakdancing, backpacks with fucking aerosol cans or whatever the fuck hip hop people do.
Coming from you, that's a compliment. I mean, but actually, remember the time we actually met Dumb? So we were trying to figure out. We were hosting open mics, poetry nights, whatever it may be, and then we went to an open mic where Dumb was, and he was like 14. He had like Dickies on and like a brown, I think like a Hyro shirt.
Yeah, probably.
These are the same
Yeah.
Dickies,
Sounds
by the
about
way.
right.
Yeah.
No,
same
no, I'm
Dickies.
playing.
and I think like he was like roasting us then at 14 years old.
Things never change.
Yeah, just roasting.
You
But
guys
yeah,
gave me far more roasting material now with the mustache and all, but no, I'm kidding.
that was part of the agreement though.
No. But yeah, I mean, at
Yeah.
the time, it was because, as in the rap community, like, you're young and arrogant, just like comedy, you're cocky, and you start seeing other people, like, killing it, and you think you're better, and you feel like you should be in that position. That's, like, just young shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we never since then where we think we would ever work together. It was such different landscapes of music. Like when we started out, like we went to like every open mic, everything that was possibly like politically based or socially relevant, and we were writing rhymes and actually making songs like that, which a lot of people wouldn't even assume considering they heard G6. But what we realized is through that we're like, man, like why don't we try something different? We really want change to happen. We think like Far East Movement was a name that we purposely made. It wasn't an accident. So we thought, why don't we try to make pop music, man? Why don't we try to make songs where like the social relevance would be that people wouldn't even realize they're listening to Asians.
Right.
And so we did that. We like completely made a left turn and started listening to like Black Eyed Peas and pop music and just like understanding like great like song structure and arrangements in pop music and why it's catchy. And
You're like, fuck the struggle rap shit.
No,
We ain't
no,
making
no.
goddamn.
It's
No,
not
I know
about
what you mean,
struggle.
though,
Not
because
about
I feel
struggle.
like
Yeah.
now, after understanding it more as an artist, and because I think we forget about a lot of things. Because when I was a young kid watching television, I was like, oh man, I want to be on a yacht popping champagne with Diddy. I was like, I can't wait to be able to pay my rent off of rap. You know what I mean? Like, it was, you know what I mean, though, right? Like, the dream was a lot bigger, and then when you get into the reality of things, like, you do realize you do certain things, and you got to pay your bills, you take certain gigs you might not want to, and it's not exactly that, but I like that you had this huge goal, even as an Asian rap group, right? Like,
Here's the funny thing though, is we were trying to make pop music in a struggle rap real life, which is like the hardest thing to do because then you have no credibility. You're just like making pop music. But yeah, like through that's how we got Far East Movement, and that was how we started to make music that we thought we were looking at the radio and thinking if we could get on there, and then if we could do this, if we could do that, like maybe that's the movement and that's the change. And then we were in situations where we did finally get in a situation where we're next to Jimmy Iovine, next to the record labels at Universal, at Interscope, and there's always rumblings of, hey, maybe you guys should change your name. That's like really,
yeah, I wanted to talk
really
about that
Asian.
because you guys have a like Far East Movement. That's not like a mainstream top 40 kind of name. You know what I mean? I'm just saying it's not. It's like that's like it's still very like underground and grassrootsy kind of. You know what I mean? Like there's still an underground group like named that on a flyer somewhere and shit. Like but you guys you guys fought for that in a way. You're saying.
What's funny about that is we used to do like battles online too, and the first thing that any battle would start off with was like, your acronym is FEM, and so it like didn't work on many levels.
That's a real rapper right there.
I'm not gonna front. I thought about it too.
You have lines for that, like.
Yeah, but I mean, I commend you guys for keeping that name still, because it kind of you have Far East in literally the fucking name.
It confused people. So people were like, that's strange, but the song is cool. We're turning up at frat parties, at colleges, at clubs. And then they would like book us and we would go and we'd have our shades on and everything. And then they go, whoa, damn, you guys are Asian?
Right.
Like, whoa. We've gotten situations where we're headlining and the security would be like, no, you guys can't come back. No, we're about to perform. Like we're doing, no.
They're letting your security
Yeah.
in. Yeah, you guys are good.
No, and that's what it was. Anyone that looks the part.
They're like, tell your accountants to wait in the bus.
Yeah, legit. We're the dance crew. We're the dance crew.
You guys are the dance crew.
We're
I think it's
Dance
really
crew.
revolutionary to have like Asian people group with an Asian name. It's like look at like Wu-Tang. Yeah. Like to me it's like so unusual to actually sort of name we are Far East movement. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang, by the way, are Asian pioneers as well. We
I mean,
the Asian delegation have claimed
Riz
them.
is the
yes.
best Asian rapper.
Yeah, no, I really think that was cool that you guys kept that. And was there were labels actually suggesting that you guys do change the name or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got that many times. We'd be like, yeah, maybe you should just change your name to something less ethnic.
Like what?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Anything electronic.
Oh, something electronic.
Because we was like electro
something
pop.
Euro.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But there's also other execs that stood by that. And those are the execs that we stayed with, Cherry Tree Records and all that. Like, there's people that believed in, like, that type of uniqueness. That's what's different. And so, shout out to those execs that, like, really pushed that.
The one thing I noticed, even before you guys had Fly Like a G6, you guys did have a fan base brewing, and it was growing. And you guys did have a huge Asian support initially from... because the Asian culture was a different, Asian American culture with things like the import car scene, right? Like the import car models and all. Because you guys had those import car models in your videos. Those are like the homegirls. Those are like your homegirls you asked to be in the videos.
Hey,
and
happy ABG month, man.
happy ABG, the Asian baby girl, as we like to call it in our community, which is our version of like cholas, hoop earrings, Sharpie eyebrows, all the works. Usually a koi fish or dragon tattoo. But I'm saying, like, you had that community, like, rocking with you guys. And that was kind of cool. Even the club nights, like the Asian club nights. Y'all were, like, killing those.
We were definitely at the club nights, learning what people like. Learning what type of music works with what type of alcohol. Nah. One thing, though, that a story Pro always tells is the Round Justin Lin story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
like
dope.
it's always. Thank you for the layup. I appreciate that.
That was a good one.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
That's how you know we're a squad.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
looking
that's
out
what's
for me, trying to give
Like
me some
alley-oop.
mic time. I like
Wow.
that. But yeah, our people are really the ones who have just kept us going the whole time. So our first real big break was when Justin Lin put our song Round Round in Fast and Furious 3. And the first time, he rewrote the whole script and turned the movie in. And they were like, it's entirely too long. It was like 3.5 hours. It was like The Godfather. And then so they're like, you got to edit this. So he's editing hella parts, and they kept saying to edit our part out. Like, we have the most irrelevant scene in that movie. If you ever think of, if you watch it, there's like this like moment where like they do like a bird's eye view of Tokyo, and there's these guys playing soccer on top of a roof for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And they play our record in that part. He refused to chop that out because he wanted to give us a look.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Community.
so that's why we were on there. And funny enough, we had another song that was on there with the Teriyaki Boys, with shout out to Verbal.
Yeah.
And people would book us thinking that we were them.
All right,
Every
right,
time. So we would do these shows.
And we took that money.
Oh yeah, all day. And they'd always come back to us like, hey, why didn't you play your hit song?
Right.
Like, oh yeah, you got to book us next time for that, man. Like, you don't get that the first time around.
You catfish the promoters, huh?
All day,
tight.
It's
survival
weird.
of the
I should
fittest,
start.
man.
Hey, here's a turning, guys.
No, it's crazy because like that was in our Asian community the really big song before like the Gangnam Style, and that was years even before that. But it's not the same effect because Gangnam Style was like, we knew it was clearly that was like this Asian dude from Korea, and you guys were like, it was a little bit more mysterious. You guys were like aliens or something, because you guys had the sunglasses and then the matching like outfits. It was like this unit, like I don't know what to compare it to.
It was very Asian American. I was with you guys when you did George Lopez. Yes. So I was really excited to see you, and it was like very different because it was like this emergence of Asian American hip hop, which was very, very different. Gangnam Style was so Korean branded. And,
It was.
It was like sort of almost like an introduction of this is Korea now.
Right.
But you guys were just it was so American. It was very exciting.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was a great night. George Lopez was awesome.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
And you introduced us to like really what a G6 was. You know what I mean? Like
We
I
didn't know what it was.
Have you guys ever flown on a G6 or was it all a lie?
It's completely a
A
lie.
lie. You'd never flown
100%.
ever on a G6.
There was this article on CNN that's like, something about should we get like Far East Movement a flight on a G6 or it was like
It was on Reddit, I think.
it was something. It was some news site saying like, wouldn't that be amazing? Because we were like, yeah, we've never ridden in one. So what's it like?
Still haven't.
What's it like?
I've never ridden in a fucking G6.
I don't know.
No, yeah, I thought that was a Razor or some shit. No, but whatchamacallit, after that, you guys continued to success. You've had other like songs that charted on the shit, like Rocketeer. And that song was like, a lot of cats that might not know this, but it was written by Bruno Mars, co-written by Bruno Mars. Yeah, and how was that? Hold on, fuck it. What was that? Well, how'd you guys meet him? And he was just a songwriter at the time, right?
Yeah, well, there wasn't a lot of Asian American, at least that we knew about. There wasn't a lot of Asian American songwriters in the music circle. There was a few, and if we were interns at the record labels all the time at Interscope Records. There's like 3 Asian people, all interns. One of them is here, and it's like that was kind of the vibe. It was like we were all trying to figure out the music industry with no blueprint. There was nobody to look up to that was Asian American that could mentor you. Like, here's how you do music industry. So it was really like we're all hustling, scrambling, but on the side we were also creatives. So a lot of people that were working at the labels were doing writing sessions. One of those people was Bruno Mars. Another was John Yip from the Stereotypes, who's now our partner. That we just were literally every week in the studio writing records for other people, writing records for ourselves. And Bruno ended up writing about 6 songs on our first album.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I always wonder about the music scene with Asians participating in the music scene because why hasn't there been even years ago like a pop star, like an Asian female pop star or something? You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's in acting and entertainment, there was always still bits of it, but you never really saw many Asians in mainstream music. And I always kind of wondered about that.
Yeah, well, I think it's still racist. It's a very like the way that people are racist towards Asian Americans. It's not necessarily like outward racism. It's more about invisibility and non-inclusion. And so it's like this thing of like of course there's talented Asian Americans who we should have had. We should have had whoever that Gaga is or Madonna is. But it for some reason it's like okay to have classical Asian American artists.
Right.
You could see them, in like Carnegie Hall or whatever, but that
Yo-Yo Ma.
Yeah, definitely. Yo-Yo Ma's cool though. He's really cool. He and I look exactly alike. If you look at him, I've actually played him before in sketches, and
oh wow,
I look just like we look exactly alike, and it
Can
freaks
you
us
play the
both
cello?
out. No,
It
but
freaks
I
you
can fake
both
it.
out.
I can fake it. No, he's real weird to me, and I'm real weird to him because we look alike exactly. But it's a weird thing where somehow we are acceptable as a certain kind of artist. Like there's people who play classical music or the virtuosos or whatever. But why are we not seeing that that pop star? Well, now we are.
Yeah, I just wondered because it's like with music, it's just like sonics, like audio. You don't have to necessarily be out there about all the time.
Yeah.
And that was something I just found like really weird that we haven't had that.
I think it comes to role models, though. I think now the new generation of kids, they're looking at BTS, they're looking at Dumbfounded, and they're saying, okay, like I can battle rap, I can do this, I can do that. But there wasn't that. And I think like we didn't have that either. We actually, when we first started, we were like, guys, we hit the jackpot. We are the first Asian Americans to ever make music. Because there was like, literally, we didn't know.
Ever make music.
No, we didn't know.
Yeah.
We're in K-Town.
No one has this software that we
no
do
one knows.
to make music.
There's no one else in America that knows what we know. And then we flip on the TV and we saw Jen, and our heart was like, oh.
All right, that's an OG right there for sure.
Shout out to Jen, the MC. But we were like, wait, what? What is this? Who is this guy? And how does he know what we know? You know what I mean?
He got a copy of the software.
Yeah, he knows hip hop. Oh my gosh. And then he shouted out this website, Asian Raps. We go on there and we're like, yo, there's like a community here.
Like an online community.
Yeah. And then that made us at
Of
first
course
it
we
was
would
like
meet
a
online.
heart, it was like a heart sunken feeling, like we lost our secret.
Right.
But it was also an inspiring thing. Once we got over that,
It gives
we're
you chills, right? Because I know
Yeah.
for me, when I saw Jin on 106 and Park on BT, he's a rapper, early 2000s. He just showed up on this weekly show, 106 and Park on BT, where people would battle each other.
Freestyle Friday.
Freestyle Fridays, and he this Asian dude popped out of nowhere and was killing everybody on that shit, and that shit gave me chills, like for real. And that just put into perspective, like even with you guys, even way before that, there was even less role models and people to look up to. I mean, who were some of the people maybe you guys all looked up to?
I think that for us, Jin used to always call us the Far Eastie Boys, and then that guy started looking at the Beastie Boys, and, just like the way that they think outside the box, like they would do instrumental albums, like they would do live versions of their concerts,
And also, they're like three white boys in this predominantly black craft, No,
absolutely.
So then you guys probably looked at you guys like we're a trio of Asian dudes.
Did you ever do this though? Did you guys ever look for like the one Asian guy in the band of like Smashing Pumpkins and be like, oh, I like that?
Oh yeah, I did that shit.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
We still claim those motherfuckers
Yeah,
too. We
yeah.
we go.
Oh, dang, come
Yeah,
on.
like it's Karen O. You know,
Oh,
what I mean?
she's so
like,
cool.
Come on, like all the cool ones. Yeah, we non-cool ones. I'm like, nah, I don't think he's.
One
great.
thing we did, like when rappers would come out, because like nowadays everyone has social media, you know what they look like and everything. But back then, like Jaquan, Tipsy, come out, like, is Jaquan
Is he Korean?
Jaquan?
Nah, he was just a black dude named Jay Kwan. But we were like, is he John Kwan?
You remember
You
Young
might be a
One
John
from,
Kwan.
from Rough Riders?
Yeah.
Like Young One.
He said, like after further investigation, no,
Drag
he was
on?
not.
Drag on? No. Okay.
Yeah, Jay Kwan, I was like, maybe. But there's a lot of, it is cool kind of fact. I think just because there wasn't that many just full on evident Korean or Asian, artists or sports, when there's like a little quarter or a half, we're like, oh shit, that's cool.
Oh, we loved it. Yeah. So that was our role models. And then what we're thinking now, though, is back to the pop star thing. That could happen. They're seeing BTS. There's like way more, I'd say, youngsters that are online that are like, that's a career path. Like you were talking about the parents. The parents are pushing them towards it, thinking like this is a viable like career. So we're definitely gonna see it.
Yeah.
In Korea, they got rap
Yeah.
schools. They got like
Yeah.
K-pop schools.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Would you teach like a rap master class in Korea?
Well, I mean, there's stand-up classes.
There's like there's definitely like there's a way to kind of look towards like monetizing your children. I think and that part of, that part of like trying to get them early into like this idea of like let's get them perfect. I think K-pop is really about like let's make the perfect rock star, and where they like find the perfect like kid who's going to like be that potential, and then they'll mold that potential with hours and hours of work every day, and that's how these huge like K-pop groups, these idols are born.
Right.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that is funny when you said monetizing your children, because
That's what
that
it
is
is.
how a
Yeah.
lot of Asian parents do see it too.
Yeah.
I could just imagine like a group of parents just like having coffee. It's like, have you been monetizing your children yet? Like,
You got to
paid
monetize your
ads.
children. You have to.
It's amazing though if you really think about it. Like the fact that we can go and think that an Asian artist is a viable career option. An Asian movie with all Asian people can be number one in the U.S.
Yeah.
That we even have like a presidential candidate right now who's like kind of making
right,
waves.
Andrew
right now
Yang.
today.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on Andrew Yang? You
He's
like
cool.
him?
Yeah, he's
He's
cool.
got a lot of great points.
Are
cool.
Asians doing like feeling like, okay, we might vote for him because he's Asian? Like, are we doing that, or what are we doing?
I sure will.
I'm just wondering if I should be hopping on the Yang train or whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We always have that dilemma though in as an Asian community towards any role models, right? We're like, oh, Far East, that's not the rapper we wanted. Oh, this rapper, that's not the Eminem we wanted. Is that gonna happen? Is that always gonna be a thing? Oh, Crazy Rich Asians. A lot of people love it. A lot of people like, oh, that's not the movie we wanted. Like, where's the line and like, how do we support?
It's
know?
like I think that we were always so fractured because of the fact that all of our countries were in so many wars with each other, that we carry that into this generation, that we like are judgmental towards each other because we have those natural things to like want to fracture our relationships, whereas black people don't have that. Black people are so united as a community because they have to be because of their activism, and they like have that tradition of like always supporting like black movies and black artists, and so we need to get some of that, and I think that's starting to happen, which is really, really important.
you've got to go with that prison mentality where like the Asians, there's not enough of them for them to fraction out. They got to protect themselves. So the Cambodians and the Filipinos and the Koreans are all just.
Well,
Yeah.
but I always talk about this too. And on the other hand of that, I wonder if, because one thing I really respect about the black community in entertainment too is that there was always this kind of like tough love element where, like, for instance, if they go on the Apollo and they weren't feeling somebody, they'll boot them off the stage.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that kind of builds this like thick-skinnedness
Yeah.
where you're kind of supporting the best of the best, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, and I feel like I'm wondering if that's something we need too in the Asian American community. And you know, maybe we'll get there once we support enough, and
Yeah.
then we start being mean as fuck to each other. You know, I don't know. It's
Well,
just
I
like
think the thing about it, though, is for an Asian American artist to succeed in anything, you have to be so exceptional because you're going up against your upbringing. You're going up against the fact that we're invisible in the American landscape of mainstream entertainment. The fact that we just don't have those role models. So if your existence already shows that you are exceptional, that you survived. So now it's just like making sure that everybody knows that and supporting all of the other Asian American artists you see just on the fact that they're there. And so that's what I've noticed about being an Asian American artist and seeing other people out there. We had to be so good to survive to get here. So we all deserve that attention from each other.
That's so true. Our Asians are actually really great right now too. They are.
our Asians, like
Our
our rosters,
our-
our
yeah,
roster's looking
looking
good.
good,
Our starting
looking
lineup
good.
looks pretty viral right now.
Let me
Yes.
rephrase it. Our API.
No, that was just great. It was just like talking
Yeah.
about a basketball team. Like
Yeah.
our starting lineup looks great this year.
So
I think we're
good.
gonna do.
We're really doing well, but I think it's because a lot of people are now like respecting the craft. They're digging into it, and you can tell. Like even athletes, man. You got Chloe Kim. You got like people that are just killing. So
Yeah.
it's dope.
It's one athlete.
No, no. There's more. Come on, bro.
Jeremy Lin, he's in the
Jeremy
finals
Lin,
right now. Come
yeah.
on,
You
dog.
got my back. Yeah.
Tiger's Asian.
Yeah, there we go. We'll take him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Oh, wait, it's not to
Thai.
get
He's
tennis
Thai.
now.
Even the way he
Okay.
fucked up was kind of Asian. a
Yeah,
little
it was
bit.
really
It was
Asian.
like, yeah. No, but I was thinking, like, you know, when you were doing your show and there was Joyla Club and your show, I mean, even when watching your pilot just like recently, it still feels current in the way like it's seeing an Asian American, right? And do you think that's what felt like it was too ahead of its time in a way?
I think so. I think that also it was just like television was different. You know, you only had 4 networks at that point, and you didn't have the same kind of diversity in programming, all of the same platforms that we have now. So because we have more people demanding their own specialized entertainment things that they speak to them, I think now we just have a whole different world to see and support different artists.
Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, now you guys have also kind of taken a behind-the-scenes role in cultivating like new artists. You guys represent, you know, a lot of artists. Like, how's that transition been from like touring all over the world, that tour bus life, and popping bottles in the club, and flying on the G6s that you guys lied about? Your imaginary G6s. I was a child, and I believe you flew in that G6.
Well, you're one of our artists, so you know that we book you the G6s, right?
Yeah, that's what's up. No, it's not a G6. It's a G3 at best. No. But yeah, how's that? Like, do you feel like that was like a natural transition for you guys to go into this, like, you know, behind the scenes role?
I definitely think so. Like we said, we're a product of our environment and product of the people that supported us, and it only makes sense for us to give back, even though we give a lot of suggestions and artists never listen.
All right, we'll have a talk
This
after.
is gonna get real personal.
No, and also, but the thing about it is, you guys have also kind of focused in on the element of supporting Asian American artists because a lot of your roster is Asian American.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just what we know. It's the Far East, you know, it's the movement, and that's one thing that we did set out to do. We said, I think around the time that G6 was popping, and we're like, do we want to continue to tour, or do we want to take what we learned from our interning days at like Interscope Records and Arista Records, and like try to. Actually, our company was built off the foundation that we're gonna do for us what other people won't, including major labels. You know, when there's always going to be a gatekeeper that doesn't understand your cultural opinions and how your direction, your identity, that won't unlock your budget to make your art. And so we essentially made our company to really combat that. We're just gonna constantly make our own stuff, no matter what. Our own videos, our own recaps, our own photo shoots, and use everybody we know, like DPD from our community. You know, a lot of people that are in the community that are now our partners, and that ended up becoming transparent. That's what transparent art is transparent arts is. It was built on, you know, what can we do for us? Can we do for others? And then we realized the second step was Asia, man. Like, maybe when things aren't, you know, there's always going to be roller coasters in entertainment. And the U.S., even though we had a blip, is hard. But our identity is Asia. Let's go out there. Let's learn it. We kind of took like a pilgrimage, I hate to say, but something like that, where we just booked our own flights, did shows purely to get the flights to go out to Asia and learn the music industry.
You got to do business out in Asia. It's a whole other game.
It is.
You got to learn. You got to learn how to approach, how to talk to people. There's like a hierarchy of respect, and you know, just like the Korean community, pouring shots with two hands, accepting with two hands.
Our partner Kirby is here right now, and he's the king of that. He understands that.
We're already fucking up because we got our shoes
Shout out
on
to
the
Kirby.
rug right now and shit. This is already. I was gonna say something, but we're good.
But it's cultural navigation, and it's we are Americans out there. We just look the part, but literally trying to do business out there is, you know, we have to wipe everything away that we know and just go in like really humble and just open. But that's what we do now.
The one thing I wanted to ask you guys that I kind of forgot about is when you guys were at the peak of going around the world, you know, promoting the single, you know, doing the countdown in New York and Times Square with the song and everything and touring, and a lot of the demographic of the club music was like party people, right? So you guys party the grip. And I'm sure it was kind of weird for people to see like Asian rock stars. Was there like what was the relationship with like girls, the way they looked at y'all? I mean, I'm just saying, you know, just in sense, you know, now it's like you got all these, you know, you got all groupies of all races who are into Asian dudes, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying.
Man, I'm gonna let you wanna.
No, that's real shit. I'm talking
this?
about like Asian male. You know,
are we gonna bridge this into
masculinity.
K-Town? Because then we can ask you after. I'm just kidding.
I'm an independent rapper. My groupie list is still it's not that lit. You know, let's just say that. But you guys traveled all around the world, and you guys have had you know what I'm saying, the peak of like party animals. And I mean, I'm just saying that do you think
Who'd
the
you fuck?
perception?
What's their at?
No, that's. No, I'm saying the perception of women towards Asian men. Was there like a certain incident where they looked at you a certain way or differently?
I'll keep it real. It shocked me sometimes, like, because growing up as a kid with all Asian homies, and that's just what we knew. And there was never an idea that me personally, I'm not going to put you or anyone else in this conversation.
I'm not talking like how many girls you fuck. No, I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about the perception, you know what I'm saying, of Asian men in America.
No,
like,
for sure. So I literally was like, I'm never, ever, ever going to be able to date anybody but an Asian girl. Not African American, not white, nothing. Because I'm an Asian guy, and we're programmed to think that, nah, that's not going to happen.
Right.
So it was a trip when we do these shows, and like we actually, like, you know, it felt like, wow, we can actually talk to anybody we want. Like, keep it real, you know?
Yeah, and
that's
here's
how
the
it
thing.
felt.
I know like cats are like
Right?
laughing because now you see a lot of young girls here, and you know, you guys, there's a lot of Asian dudes, good looking guys on television and everything, but that wasn't the case before. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us look goofy as fuck on TV, and the characters they were creating for us and shit wasn't the most cool. You know what I mean? Cool vibes. So. This is like a legitimate
It's a
question.
legit
Like
question,
I'm just curious about seeing Asian rock stars, right, traveling the country and all that. Like,
I will say the fame is the best makeup for sure. That or like the perception of money. Like definitely they would look at us very differently, to the point where sometimes like we'd have to make a point to go and hang out with our Asian folks if there was like they were there and like a thing, just so like we could show that we had some solidarity
But
up in the mug.
you know,
is that what you're calling it? No,
You know
right.
what used to piss me off, though, was we would have those shows. We'd be in, like, a different country. I won't name countries, but they would treat us well. We'd be in the VIP, and they wouldn't. The VIP would be packed with the race of that own country, and all of our Asian people, they wouldn't let in the VIP. Yeah. And these are, like, rich, like, you know, people that deserve that. But it was just a thing where, no, Asians are not allowed up here. And we would just be like, nah, fuck this. Then, nah. We would start dragging people up. Yeah. Like, nah, these are our people. But we felt that. Absolutely.
VIP struggles.
VIP struggle. Yeah, that sounded like
Yeah.
really.
Hey, come take my hand. I'll send you the rest. Come on. Here's champagne.
We about the people. Here's champagne.
Hold on to the other end of the champagne bottle. We got you. Don't let go.
We're all floating.
You got
on
the
bottom.
velvet rope. You lassoing them and shit. Like,
Yeah.
nah. Yeah.
You know, we've never been asked that question.
That's
Well, I mean, it's a lot to
Really.
think about, right? And, I mean, these are the things that I think about. But
Damn.
now, I was thinking about the Asian thing you were saying, how they were like, oh, they don't want too many Asians in the section or whatever. But I was just seeing a comment recently, like they were like on my podcast, and they're like, this shit is too Asian for me or something, you know? But the thing about it is, it's like, one thing that kind of pissed me off about that shit is like, okay, I was like, oh yeah, I'm having a lot of Asian guests, and that naturally kind of happened because my network was a lot of Asian American artists and stuff. But one thing that got me thinking was like, it's like fucked up way, and it was an Asian dude who said that, you know, and it was kind of a fucked up way we were starting to think, because you go to all these galas and events and there's 90% white people. We're not like, oh, this shit is too white for me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it's like a conditioning I feel like we have.
Yeah.
Well, we can't just indulge in that, you know what I mean, like of our own community being at something. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck you, comment. Yeah. But yeah, that's another thing I was thinking about.
We I don't know. It's less now, but we definitely had to deal with the comments. Like there was like YouTube comments were just so reckless, man, and there wasn't a good like culture of like of policing. You know, people were just like cold, reckless, anonymous. You know what I mean?
That's true, because Margaret over here, like, you know, you how was the hate received during that time when there was not much internet?
Oh, at that time, you would just call people up on the phone and yell at them. Like, it was really fucked up. You would just call people on the phone and yell at them, or there would be like some article, and then they would talk to a bunch of people. And so you would see it in like the LA Times or like a magazine or whatever. But yeah, and that day, we would have no trouble. Like, the trolling was just like, get their number and call them at home. Which I did a lot of that kind of like very direct trolling.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, that, which I think is really gratifying. And there's something about it that it's like when you're not anonymous and you're trolling like that, it's like, like very legit.
Right.
You know, you can actually listen to each other. And so,
There was more of a dialogue of
yeah.
trolling.
I mean, people just talk shit online. They don't even really mean what they say, but then you get really affected by it, which is, I think it doesn't have to be that way.
All right. Yeah, I want to wrap it up. Make some noise one time for Margaret Cho, Far East Movement, Rex Dizzy. Thank you guys so much. Keep it going, y'all. Keep it going one time.